Arts is made possible by viewers like you.
Arts is presented by the Tobin Center for the Performing Arts, providing the best place anywhere to see and hear a live performance, transforming the performing arts in San Antonio's decade of downtown. The Tobin Center.
On this edition of Arts. Inspired by the 80s pop art movement, a local artist turns antiquated furniture into highly sought-after contemporary artworks. The Children's International Puppet Festival sets up stage in San Antonio, bringing some of the best and most skilled touring companies from all around the world. All this and much, much more on this edition of Arts. Hi, I'm Asia Sheravino and welcome to Arts. First up, we meet local artist Elizabeth Walker Carrington. Inspired by the works of Andy Warhol and Jeff Koons, self-proclaimed child of the 80s, Carrington draws on her inspiration of the pop art movement by turning antiquity into contemporary. We dropped by Elizabeth's studio to witness where debauchery and decadence combine into works of art.
I've always been a creative person. It's been a passion of mine, and then in college I got my bachelor's in fine art, so I was going in that direction, painting and drawing. My art is very contemporary. I consider it pop art. That's been my biggest influence. I feel like a child of the 80s. I'm a huge Warhol fan, Jeff Koons, graphic design, and so popular culture is my big inspiration. I got into screen printing, and that's been a main focus of my art this last 10 years, and I really love the clean edges, the really bright colors, and getting that fine detail. I got into furniture, not really about doing furniture. It was more about creating this high-low aesthetic. I was finding these antique Louis XIV style chairs and trying to really make them funky. I loved the debauchery and decadence mixed in. I would refurbish them and give them real shiny, candy-coated colors, and then upholster the fabric on there. So it was really just about the screen printing. I kind of felt like it was the ultimate kind of rebellious thing to put art on a seat where people are gonna sit, and so that was it to me. It just felt a little subversive, and that's just kind of how I am, a little bit of an outcast. So I wanted to just mix these two mediums together and see how it turned out. And people treat them as precious items, and I get that. They are like these statement pieces. For me, it was sustainable. I was finding these hideous chairs in an antique store and turning them into something new. The exhibit I did at the McNay was for their 60th anniversary. I was in the front gallery of the Steeren Center, where I exhibited paintings, textiles, furniture, and some of my past works. Being at the McNay was thrilling. It was a huge opportunity for me. I've been going there for a long time now, and it's a beautiful space, so it was a rush to have my work be there. Art is a passion for me. It's not just a job. Being able to do art full-time has been a wonderful, rewarding experience, but it's been a luxury. I mean, when I lived in San Francisco, I wasn't going to be an artist. I was going to get a job, because living here has afforded me the time and space to be able to not have to worry so much about finances and follow your passion.
You can find out more on our website. We want to hear from you. Do you know of a good story you'd like to see aired on Arts? Let us know by emailing us at arts@klrn.org. If we use your idea, you'll get a screen credit on our program. Up next, we witness cutting-edge art as it's created. Built in Troy, New York, MPAC, short for the Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center, is having a real impact on the arts. Home to cutting-edge artists and performances, this creative hub is a true wonder to behold. Take a look.
Quite a few people who visit MPAC ask, why is MPAC here in Troy at Rensselaer? And I usually say, well, it just landed from Mars This was a good landing place, and we are still waiting for the little green men coming out of the concert hall.
For the Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center, that automatically indicates work that is experimental. Also, often the work that we show is time-based.
We do a lot of development work in new technology, networking and computers and programming and the kind of latest and greatest tools.
So we are spanning scientific research and artistic production at MPAC, and both are developed through residencies.
The particularity of MPAC is that for visual artists especially, who normally have the constraints of a white cube gallery space, is here the limits are taken away from them.
I've been really exploring the idea of sound spatially, sound as a sort of experience on the body. And this has been manifesting in performance work, installation work.
Our residencies are a little different in that they support potentially a new work from the beginning to the end.
And what I'll do is I'll work with the parameters of the frequency range of this, and also with the low end, and kind of see what kind of interference it's going to have. There's a point of where I drop the knowledge and science and just go into kind of the creative observation. I've been given so much time and space and tools to really delve deeply into concepts, and then when it's time to realize them, I have this incredible team.
In addition to working with artists, we also work with the campus community at large. And tonight we have a group of students that we work with throughout the year to investigate new technologies. In the spring of each year, and we put on more an informal event, a dance party type of thing, where students get to try out all the technologies. Right now we are in the control room for Studio 1. We have two studios, Studio 1 and Studio 2. They're sort of the fraternal twins. One's the white box, one's the black box studio.
We also have a theater, a concert hall. All these spaces support using the full volume of the space to the same degree and have the same level of technological infrastructure.
My favorite part of my job here is really the conversations that take place with everyone from philosophers that are invited to speak to the students here on campus, and to see the way that they receive the programming and reflect on it.
I think one of the major draws of MPAC is that it's part of RPI. It's really a community thing. You can always buy cool technology, but in terms of developing a community and something bigger than that, that's what's really kind of special about RPI MPAC.
MPAC's really an extraordinary place. There's nowhere quite like it. This place really gives artists the opportunity to have time and support, and to develop incredibly ambitious work so they wouldn't necessarily have the resources or access to elsewhere.
Art is an indication actually of the state of society, how they accept that which is different, that which is challenging, that where you have to think, where you have to open up your heart and your soul. That is for me the most interesting and challenging part of our work at MPAC, to be a place where this can actually happen, where we challenge ourselves in looking at others in a different way each time we encounter something.
We'd like to feature your art on our show. Just email us a picture, video, sound recording, whatever artwork you have created to arts@klrn.org, and put the words "My Art" in the subject line. Each week we'll select a project and share it with our viewers. Get ready, San Antonio, for the first ever Children's International Puppet Festival. It makes its debut right here in San Antonio. We spoke with Kathleen Miller, our great friend, on what we can expect.
Here we are, back with you again. Yes, by gum. And yes, by golly. Cuckoo friend. Dear old Ollie. Here we are again. Here we are again.
The first time I saw puppets, it was Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, and I just fell in love with them. It just was so interesting. It was like, I loved dolls, and it's like dolls just, became alive. A couple of years ago, we received this wonderful news that we were going to get $138,000, and that was a lot of money for us. And The woman is Martha Lebo. It's Martha Lebo Trust. And at the same time, the Tobin started talking about that they were going to have this studio, this smaller venue, Black Box. And I had always wanted that for these smaller puppet shows. It's a Children's International Puppet Festival. It's the first one in San Antonio and even in Texas. And we'll be presenting 7 companies. There will be 59 shows. 24 are for schools and the other 35 are for the public. The wow factor are the Saigon Golden Dragon water puppets. This is over 1,000-year-old tradition with them, and they have all these little segments, and what they're focusing on are the farming and fishing villages that were part of Vietnam forever. One of our shows is Paul Messner Puppets, which we have every year, and he's doing Red Riding Hood. And he is wonderful, and we have him every year. He actually closes our season because his humor is so good for both the adults and the children. He's like a stand-up comedian, and he always has something to say that all the adults are just cracking up, and then the children don't get that, but that's okay, then he has a lot for them as well. So this whole festival is really for everyone. It's not just for children. These companies are so good and just, you know, when you see them, you can't say much about them, you have to see them. And we do have little videos on our website, and to sort of give you an idea about how good they are and how different. And of course, this is the first one in San Antonio and even in Texas. And we hope that everyone's going to come because it's going to be a wonderful experience.
For more information, you can visit thetobinCenter.org. Up next, we drop by the historic Wisconsin estate of Broadway legends Alfred Lunt and Lynn Fontanne, where accomplished theater actors are invited to hone their craft under a master teacher. Let's take a look.
It's a gathering of masters, both master teachers and master artists. And in this atmosphere at 10 Chimneys, it's joyful because we are also honoring the gifts that the Lunts gave to the theatrical community and American theater history.
10 Chimneys is the estate of Alfred Lunt and Lynn Fontanne, who are the premier stage actors from the 20s to the 60s. We're here to help further American theater, and that's in many ways through education, through training, through development, and through legacy building. The Lynn Fontanne Fellowship Program is the preeminent fellowship program for actors to have a minimum of 20 years of acting experience. We find that at that stage, that's when the rejuvenation may be necessary. At 20 years, you're mentoring others just naturally, but this is where the mentors come to be mentored. We have 10 fellows from all around the country, all among the best in their craft. They are energized, committed, passionate, lovers of the theater. You can see why they are the best at what they do.
The Lunt Fontanne estate is a treasure. It's a jewel, and Wisconsin has it. And to be able to access this resource and not only have Milwaukee theater honored, but the Lunt Fontanne estate and their legacy, to have that honored as well is just really, really exciting. This is such an amazing group of people who have spent their lives continually showing up, continually pushing the boundaries, continually redefining excellence and vulnerability, which is really a fascinating quality in all of these people, that as professional and as trained and disciplined as they all are, they're all enormously vulnerable. And that's an exciting thing for both other performers and for audiences.
The masterclass teacher really has to be someone that is respected by the acting community. So you couldn't have someone that may have had a great role, but only have a few years of experience. So typically the masterclass teacher has been in the business for 30+ years. But in addition to that, have a commitment to American theater.
I'm here for a week to run a master class with 10 wonderful actors from around the country. And we're here to sort of rejuvenate ourselves and rediscover why we're doing what we're doing. These are people who have, like myself, reached a point in life where they are They've done a lot and accomplished a lot, and we are all sort of collectively looking back and looking forward at our careers and at our work. My job in the class is, I think, to just facilitate that and use whatever experience I have to shed any insights I may have on their careers and their work. My deal this week was, I thought, since we're at 10 Chimneys, that we should work on things that in some way are connected to the Luntz. So I thought, what if we used that guest list as our template and said, let's look at anything written by or performed in people who were friends of the Luntz and came to 10 Chimneys. So I call it Chimney Pieces. You could also call it 6 Degrees of 10 Chimneys. So part of this week is getting to know each other and getting to see what parts fit well and what scenes work best. And I think the general idea will be we'll use the first part of the week to just play and explore as much as we can. And then as it gets towards the end of the week, we'll start narrowing down our choices to scenes that we can maybe dig deeper into for the rest of the time here.
He is so amazingly generous and gentle, and yet just a fascinating scholarly mind that he's able to look at the shape of the scene and say, think about this one moment or think about this one phrase, and allow that to help you get to the truth of this situation. And that kind of an eye is really very rare, and that kind of gentleness and respect as a director is also extremely rare. So it's really fun to be in the room with someone who has not only that kind of intelligence, but that kind of gentle approach.
David is a very warm person, he's just very natural in terms of his connections with people. So he has offered them not only the wisdom that he has, but he has also provided them with some good guidance and support and sharing of experiences.
I started out in the theater doing Broadway and off-Broadway. I was doing Shakespeare in the Park. I was doing new plays. I did a lot of work in regional theater. Probably the formative years of my acting were spent in regional theater, at the Guthrie, at the Goodman, at the Long Wharf, places like that. And then I've gone away and done television. And probably most importantly, I came back. And ever since Frasier ended, I've been doing theater, because that was my first love, and that is what I find most fulfilling. So that's a kind of a broad range of experience that may give me some perspectives on things that are useful. But above all, I think it's that belief in love of and commitment to the theater.
One of the things that's happened in the conversations that the fellows have been having is that we've all discovered that no matter what checklist there is about whether you're good at this or whether you should pursue this, those of us who are here just keep showing up. That we refuse to take no for an answer, that we refuse to let someone else define beauty or talent or success, that we just keep saying, I'm going to keep showing up. And that's right now what I'm taking away from this is keep showing up, keep bringing your best game, keep bringing your best generosity, keep bringing your best intelligence, and good things will happen.
The essence of a program like this is being willing at a later stage in your career and in your life to take a chance, to open yourself up to possibilities, so that at a time in life where it's very easy to start shutting down and start narrowing your choices and feeling like you have to protect, be able to embrace uncertainty, because this place is full of those things and full of magic. I hope that they leave here inspired. I hope that they have made discoveries about themselves or about their technique. And I've hoped they've been exposed to a world of the theater that they maybe never knew or had lost touch with, because some of these plays don't get done so much anymore. I hope they leave full of Luntz.
A homegrown San Antonio painter is the focus of My Art segment. Esteban Arredondo received his Master of Fine Arts from UTSA. He now travels around the world handling art and antiques, and his work has been exhibited nationally. Esteban says that through his investigation of movement, space, rhythm, and visual sounds, his paintings embody the intuitive process, representing spontaneity and reveling in the moment. He says he enjoys building, manipulating, pushing, pulling, and moving the paint into quirky, organic shapes, and designing rhythmic atmospheres through the intuitive process of drawing simple lines and forms. Our thanks to Esteban Arredondo for sharing his art with us. You can see more of his work at the REM Gallery in San Antonio. Next up, we meet a poet who encourages others to pursue their dreams. Terry O'Neill is a poet, author, screenwriter, and educator. Her goal is to share her heart and soul with the world. Prepare to be inspired.
Light shines upon you. Grace is your name. You give me hope to do the same, to be a face with a name in this boundless place. Confidence, strength, and intelligence are just a few of many of your endless qualities. My mother had exposed me to arts, literature, and culture at such a young age. And at the early age of 6 years old, I met one of the greatest voices in African American literature, the late Dr. Maya Angelou. Even though I was too young to appreciate it, I carried it with me for the rest of my life. And it has contributed to the writer, the poet, the artist, the woman I am today. I would have never guessed, though, that I would be a published writer. Well, I was in my second year at Consumnes River College, and I had a professor who, we had a paper to write, and I wrote the essay, and I was inspired to write a poem. So I submitted my paper, incorporated a poem, and when I got my paper back in red ink, it said, "Nice poem. If this is the work of another author, please state the author's name and where you found it." And I was like, wow, he thinks that I'm good enough. My writing is good enough to be the work of another author, a real life author. It was really that defining moment where I said, I can do this. And I took those steps to publish my first book. That first book, Motion Sickness, was released in 1999. And after it was published, I was really, really eager, motivated, eager to see it in stores, on bookshelves, and in libraries. The knowledge from your tongue brings excitement to my ears, even though I fail to comprehend every word. I praise you, falling to my knees at the very sight of you. I roll out the red carpet and I bow. Early on in my career, I will say the feedback wasn't great. As a new poet, a black poet, there was a lot of criticism, a lot of rejection that I dealt with for many, many years. It was difficult, but it did give me tough skin. My second book was different. I will say the writing kind of evolved. It started to pick up the publicity and the positive comments about my work when I reached The Poet Speaks in Black by 2001. And then I started venturing down another road. I spent a lot of time in the schools. That's the majority of the events and presentations I give is in the school system. I'm just trying to reach out and make a difference in the lives of the young people, and that's rewarding. They inspire me. I want to be able to encourage them not to give up, not to quit, and just to follow their dreams. As cliche as it sounds, knowledge is power. It really is. And enlightening other people. I mean, it's been over 15 years since I've been writing and sharing my work with the world. If I can make a difference in the life of somebody else who reads my work, then it was all worth it for me. What a noble prize, a dream come true. I wish one day to become as great a person, to be respected by all, to touch many souls, to grow old and be known as phenomenal.
To add your event to the KLRN Arts calendar, visit klrn.org/arts. And that wraps it up for this week of Arts. Don't forget to catch the Children's International Puppet Festival happening next week. I'm Asia Sheravino. We'll see you then.
Arts is made possible by viewers like you.
Arts is presented by the Tobin Center for the Performing Arts, providing the best place anywhere to see and hear a live performance, transforming the performing arts in San Antonio's decade of downtown. The Tobin Center.
Next week on Arts, the Jamie Wyeth Retrospective makes a stop at the San Antonio Museum of Art, one of only 3 venues in the country for this traveling retrospective. We'll speak with the chief curator about what to expect and learn about a San Antonio connection that figures prominently in the exhibit. Find out more on the next edition of Arts.